everyone. We're back for our weekly Ask Us Anything. And this week we are going to make sure that the topic is not as broad for everyone. We're going to make it about link building today. We'll make it about something else next week. We'll get your feedback on that. So if you can leave in the comments what you would like next week. We've just kicked off this week with link building. But for next week, if you want to let us know what you would like to see, we can certainly implement that, because we don't know what you guys don't know. But anyway, back to the good stuff. Welcome to you, Chris. Thank you very much for coming on again.
Always happy to be here.
And welcome to people who have been in the chat already. Deanna Ramirez, Ronak Jane. I know it's nighttime over there. Craig Mullins, as always, is there. So we're just going to give it a few minutes before we start going through the questions. But any questions, guys, do start to put in the kind of live chat there. And also, with anything, there's always dicks in the world. Right, dicks. Someone's already disliked the video and we've not even started. So please give us a like on the video, because there's I was speaking to Chris about it before, and we reckon it's actually someone's huge fan.
That's right.
Who's disliking the videos rather than anything else. And yeah, just give us a like, give us a subscribe. Chris's channel, for anyone who is not familiar with Chris, but I'm sure my audience is starting to become more and more familiar. Chris's channel is in the comment. It's in the live chat. And it's also in the comment, the first comment there. If you want to give him a bit of love as well, it is always much appreciated. And hello to Jano Oliver, first timer, nice. In the chat there. So hopefully it will not be your last time, Jano. You will enjoy what we've got.
First time's always the best.
But what we'll do is just crack on with the questions, because that's what you're here for. And Devin Price, thank you. Two absolute legends, he says. Thank you very much. Flattery will get you everywhere, Devin.
Absolutely.
Me anyway, it does. So, Chris, sir, how much hours do you work?
Literal, like hard work.
Yeah.
I consider zero. Generally, I wake up at 5 a.m. I take over my little guy around 4 p.m. until 9, and then I come back down from 9 till probably about 3 a.m. So whatever that range is about what I do. Sundays, Sundays, it's church day. So,
a day off. We all need a day off.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, but I'm sure you work like a fucking dog. It looks like that anyway with
every
the video coming out. So, but that is enough about how often we work. We want link building questions today.
Yeah.
So make sure they are link related where possible. And we'll go with LF. Hello, any tips about anchor keyword ratio? Do you use these days money keyword or only from your top entities? What's your anchor text strategy like, Chris?
Anchor text is generally based upon SERP to SERP. So, I mean, if I'm taking a look at the SERP and the leading competitors have a ratio of generally it's going to be branded and exact is generally what I see. I'll try to follow the guideline that's already winning. So that's usually, it just depends on the SERP is the answer.
I mix mine up as much as I possibly can, but also follow what's working. If I felt it was kind of spammy, I would not follow what was working, and I probably still would do it to some degree, but mix it all up. I don't think. I think people overthink their anchor text, their anchor stuff too much. That's just my opinion, but hey ho. GSA or other links direct to tier 1 can pass harmful juice to money website.
I think that all links are good until proven that they're bad. I mean, who's to say? I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think that it could potentially cause an issue. I wouldn't send it to my money site, but tier 1, tier 2, I don't see any issue with that.
Yeah.
And I think too, it depends on the outbound links, what's on the page, because GSA, you can set your template. So yeah, it could, just like any link.
Yeah, just be careful, man. With GSA, unless you really know what you're doing, I wouldn't be pointing it to my money website. So
no.
Be careful. And in fact, I need to understand how to pronounce this name, because Mr. Passert comes on every week and he likes our channel, both our channels and stuff like that. But Wozlist. Tell me if I've got that right or if I'm way off the mark. But good to see you again, buddy. He's obviously helping out in the chat as well. So just going through past all the hellos. So Craig Mullins, best way to analyze guest post and niche edit links nowadays. All these scores are super easy to manipulate, but most of these 301 redirects links aren't even indexed in Google.
I mean, you're looking at 301s. I mean, I think a 301, a guest post, and a niche edit are three completely different things. As far as analyzing a guest post or analyzing a niche edit, I think that that means you're buying a service. So I would think that trust is the number one factor of analyzation of buying a link. So I would just test out services if you're just starting out on maybe an entity or a property that isn't your number one. And then take it from there, because building a relationship and building trust from a link source, that's really what you're talking about here, unless you're doing it yourself. So, I mean, that's my opinion.
Also, when you're analyzing something, now Craig's went on to say that fake link metrics are not really going to pass any real power, blah, 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 blah. Now, you can actually see when people are manipulating the kind of link metrics, so to speak. You can see the type of websites that you can see the backlink profile, and it's all from Google, Google's own entities and shit like that. If you want to fake these metrics, if a backlink if it's a DR50, for example, and it's got like the New York Times and a whole bunch of other stuff, that to me would be saying, green light, do it. If it was all kind of Google stuff and kind of URL shorteners and weird shit like that, then of course that is where someone is jacking you off and trying to throw you under the bus and take all your money for something that has little to no power. Also look at keyword rankings as in traffic of a guest post as well. I think is a key indicator. If a website's ranking for a couple of thousand keywords and it's getting some decent traffic, it's probably likely that those metrics are not being faked as such. Craig Mullins is also asking, what do you recommend for indexing 301 redirect links and getting tools to index them, like Ahrefs and all that kind of stuff? What's your kind of input?
I mean, if you're getting a 301 redirect, that means they're 301 redirecting something that should already be indexed. So it's coming to your site. You're just hoping to benefit from the power that's being redirected to your site. So worrying about indexation should be on the part of the person that you're getting the 301 from. Or if you're the one doing it, you should be making sure that that site is actually indexed before you 301 it. But does it even really matter if I'm going to the host provider and I 301 redirect it to my website? Is it relevant that the site is indexed, or is it even going to be indexed? Probably not, but it's still going to pass power. So, I mean, that's my answer.
Anytime. So part of my process for, if I buy an expired domain name or whatever, I will repurpose it. And I think I've said that in several occasions, is repurpose the website. See, just as part of a test, see, put up some pages and stuff to see if that then starts to rank, a couple of the old pages and the old URLs, and then I'll do a 301 redirect. So I would kind of be making sure that stuff was getting indexed anyway and it hadn't been spammed to death and it wasn't going to pass any juice. But do you really need Ahrefs, Moz, SEMrush, and Google Search Console to see these links? Absolutely not. I mean, some people even block those bots from even being able to access those websites purely because they don't want the competition. you've got to hide what works, and you don't want these guys being able to reverse engineer that and hand it to them on a plate using Ahrefs and all that stuff. But you've also, as I say, why would you be concerned if those tools were able to kind of find those links anyway? I wouldn't be that fussed because I don't want anyone knowing what I'm doing. So that's just my opinion on it, Craig.
Yeah, but that's like two different. He's asking about the 301 and like a site, like a 301 to me is different than setting up, say, a PBN or then setting it up and then trying to 301 redirect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're on the right. That was a good answer.
What are your thoughts in using crowd search? I know this isn't related, but we'll just answer it anyway. What are your thoughts in using crowd search? How effective would you say it is?
I think once upon a time, I think that it was relatively, effective. It's been quite a while since I've used that particular tool set. I think that there's, better and more productive and effective tools out there now. But yeah. I can't say anything bad. I don't know them. I don't use it currently.
No, I'm the same. I don't use it currently. Have used it in the past and it was all right. But you can use micro workers and stuff like that, which you're going to get better results from. Hello, Ken from Bangkok. Great to see you, buddy.
Hey, Ken.
Raphael. So we've got Saranavan. What a cool name. What's your opinion on SC Nuke? TNT?
I don't personally. I might have it on a VPS. I think it's an old tool. I'm sure it is effective. It's just not something that I'm currently using. But I've heard wonderful things. I have used it. It's not something that I'm currently using. Nothing bad though. It's a tried black hat tool. I mean, but it's just not something that I'm using at this time.
Yeah, I've not used it for a good number of years, but some of the people that I have massive amounts of respect for still use it to some degree for whatever the hell they do. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's none of my business, but there is still some uses for it if you... Yeah, I'm not... some. Yeah. So, CV... Do you have any advice for CV writing? We don't write CVs. Well, I don't. To hell with CVs.
I'm thinking, damn, what's a CV? I hope Craig can answer this.
No, I don't do CVs. No advice. I think there are people out there who are more specialised in that. It's the least of my worries. Hello, are you both doing TikTok for fun? I am. I'm not sure. Anymore. Are you doing TikTok, Chris?
I did a couple, but then I stopped.
Come on.
It wasn't. I was doing like marketing and then fun stuff, and I'm looking at the comments, and it was just wasn't for me. It's not for me.
Retire wire. What is black hat link building? And it sounds like Google frowns on that. Is it true?
Absolutely not. Google loves link building. Larry Page built his whole infrastructure on link building. So I don't see why. No, they love link building. And I think all links are good until they're proven that they're not. So no, why would they frown upon it? And I think that Google may be leaning more towards user metrics and traffic. But I think we're still a few years from that as it being the primary way of ranking a page. Yeah.
Just to add to that retire wire, I get what you're coming from. Black hat link building is supposedly bad. That's what works. That's the kind of white hat link building. There's no such thing. People do not just link to your evergreen content naturally because it's a great piece of content. That does not work. That's nonsense. So that's more black hat even saying that because it's just a lie. So yeah, but I get what you're saying. Dirty, greasy, blog commenting, firing up scrapebox and black hat link building like that is likely to lead to a penalty. It depends on what you do. But, people are so-called black hats are further ahead of the game and they don't do that kind of crappy stuff anyway. So it depends what you're terming black hat as well. But just do what works, man. Do what works, what currently makes you money, and you're good to go. Javid Hakimi, good to see you again, buddy. Got some repeat people coming here. What is more important to send links to, your GMB, PID, CID, or MID?
Javid, I'm not sure why you're sending links to any of these types of machine strings. You should be sending traffic, and then you should be associating keywords with that traffic and sending that through. But I guess that's one way to ask it with a link attached to it, because this is a link building video. But no, I would do not send links to any of those machine entity IDs, any of them. It's traffic, and we're trying to build relevance, and you need to start building up more strings, whether it's Google Earth, whether it's Google Lens, whether it's however you want to do it. So that's my best answer for that now.
And for your GMB, send citations rather than links. You get a better result, mate. Giro Handel, do you usually index backlinks only once, or do you monitor indexation throughout the year?
That's the general problem, and you know, getting them indexed is never an issue. It's keeping them indexed. Do I sit and monitor the hundreds of thousands of links that I've created over the course of 11 years? Definitely not.
Just the good ones, right?
What's that?
Just the good ones.
Yeah, just the good ones. It depends on what I'm currently working on, basically, and who's paying me. You know, so
that's really out the window.
Yeah.
But that's a fair answer. I think it's impossible to. I mean, there are tools that can check that kind of stuff out for you, but do you want that cost all the time? I think you've got to trust people a bit as well. Dave Ray, any experience using link building websites like Fat Joe, for example? Not talking about using Fiverr. So do you use, so here in the UK, we've got like Fat Joe. They're probably very similar to the Hoff and other things like that. Do you ever use anything like that?
I don't use mass marketed link building services. That's not for me. You know, it's not something that I do. So no,
no, good answer. As I say, I'm not going to sit and slam anyone's link building services at all. There probably is some value in there, but I'm looking for a bit better and more intricate links that just are not available to the mass market, so to speak. I want them for me. I want to crush Chris Palmer to death. And the only way for me to do that, if we're both buying from a public vendor like that, then we're both going to always be there. Whereas I want to crush him and have 10 links that he'll never get in a million years unless he begs me personally for them. So that is the Jago for not that I hate Chris at all in any way, but just to give the kind of answer over. That's essentially what I'm looking
and
to
those
do.
Services are Fiverr freelance sellers with bigger budgets. That's it.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah.
Praveen Sharma. Hi Craig, I purchased an expired domain name, but the spam score is 50. What would you do with that, Chris?
Well, I probably wouldn't have bought it to begin with. But you could always just 301 it to maybe some other type of property like a Google site and then pass it that way. That's probably what I would do to just clean it up a little bit. I'd probably just push it through another property. So that's what I wouldn't even have touched that.
No, I say more hassle than it's worth. Craig Mullins, did Craig Campbell just wake up? Yeah, I was telling Chris off here, I had a little nap with my son, and I feel groggy as fuck, actually. So I've not been drinking, not been smoking pot, nothing like that. I was actually in a Zoom call a couple of weeks back with a few friends, and this boy came in, and he was in India, and he really was not well. He was really ill, and he came on the call anyway, and everyone was laughing their head off. Because the guy eventually went away and they're like, he's out his tits. Like, you could see it in his eyes. He's been smoking pot all night. And the guy was actually genuinely just not well. So, yeah. But I just want to cover off. I'm all well. I'm just feeling groggy. I should be sleeping in the afternoon. It's just this slob-like culture we're getting into now with this bloody lockdown.
Yep.
Rana Monib. Can you tell me one high powerful backlink for free? Is there such a thing?
Not really. Why? How about a Reddit link? How about a Reddit category link? They're kind of juicy, and you could tier them up.
Yeah.
I gave that one away for free. That's on the Chris Palmer SEO YouTube channel. You could have that one.
Yeah.
Along with
much bigger than Reddit.
other people.
So Sam, we're calling it Waslist Sam. This German stuff. The pronunciation with the Germans is always very aggressive, but yeah, we'll just call you Sam, man. If I remember to call you Sam, I may just call you Passiert. Yeah, in the UK we always call people by their surname. But why? Mohammed's asking, why aren't websites writing content on the main topic or niche in blogging? That's not link related. But just so that you learn, if you're watching, you want to basically write on topic. There's no point otherwise. If you're going to write about computers one day and write about fish the next day, then you're not really going to have a niche website and have any kind of main focus. So don't do that.
One page, one keyword.
Ryan Houghton is asking, is there any places you would recommend for backlinks, maybe like profile submission links, etc.?
Not necessarily. No, I probably wouldn't go that way. As far as profiles, I mean, if you can generate some .govs, maybe some .edus, I've seen some benefit to those, but it's not, like getting a contextual link on a DA50, So, no, I wouldn't recommend it, but there are some benefits to it if it's .gov.edu.
Yeah, for stuff like that, those backlinks, Ryan, I'm not sure where you would go to for that. Maybe just use SEO Autopilot or something to do that yourself, rather than go to a guy and hope for the best.
Right.
Avocat Tyrene, when you look at the SERPs, right, so when you look at the SERPs to see what Google likes for a specific query, do you copy what the others are doing? If so, how does that make you rank higher than them if you just copy what they're doing?
Well, you're not generally copying, but Google is showing reward for certain types of sites. So if you're looking at a SERP and it's all blogs and you're trying to rank a homepage, you're not going to get in there 9 times out of 10. So you're not copying, you're improving what is already being rewarded. So that's looking at it as a negative light. You're just improving what Google's rewarding. You're writing a better piece of content. It's longer. It has more images, more multimedia. It's better optimized. It's a better page. It's going to rank higher. So that's it. Yeah,
it's not just about copying them, as Chris says, and doing them. Smash them to bits. Do it 10 times better. There's always room for improvement. Hi Photografia, Fernando Coutinho. That's quite a cool name as well. Footballer, digital marketing for business. Hello, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
What would you say is better? What was it Paul asked again?
Maybe CTR crowd search, I believe.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I'm currently using micro workers. I don't really believe this whole crowd thing works anymore because people are lazy with it. But in terms of click-through rate manipulation, I'll send stuff out to a mailing list. I will send stuff out to push messages just to get all that click-through rate. And I'll also do paid advertising in Facebook to Indians, which you're getting for a penny a click. So a combination of all that gives me enough traffic to make it look viral. Which in turn ranks the stuff, including videos or whatever it's going to be. It's the same method that we're doing for YouTube. And obviously,
you're doing foreign postcards? Are you doing foreign mail?
Yeah. No, not foreign mail. No.
Oh, that's a hitter. Yeah, I was thinking, wow, you're onto that.
No. What do you mean by foreign mail? What the hell are you talking about?
Like sending out, how here when we send out mass mail, it's generally about 30 cents a piece. Well, foreignly, we're talking about 4 cents a piece. So,
are you doing that?
I've done it for campaigns, but for dinner parties and things along those lines. Like we've talked about that before. That's more personal stuff.
But yeah, so for Paul, just to reiterate, I think the crowd search thing can work to a certain degree, but what we need to do is real people clicking on the website, and the only real ways that I'm finding just now that are working is doing the kind of Indian thing and getting real low-cost traffic. Quora ads is another place for low-cost traffic as well, but it costs money. There's no free way to do it. And yeah, try that out and see if that works any better for you. Certainly working well for me. So
what did you do? Did you do surveys on Quora? Is that how you were getting them over? Surveys?
No. So what you can do is just put an ad under Quora ads about SEO or link building, whatever it's going to be. So you can just have an ad under that. So someone can say, tell me where to build it. How do you build links for websites or whatever? And underneath it will be an ad about link building tutorial or a course or whatever it's going to be. So just keep it super relevant to the questions that are on Quora.
What's the click-through rate on that? What are you getting? 2%, 3%?
The click-through rate was a lot better than that. It was decent and it was very, very low cost. I ended up getting something like 2,200 clicks for $120.
Oh, good! Wow. Okay.
So it was very, very cheap and very, very good, and very, very relevant as well, which is the most important part. So Quora is another place that you can do that as well. But as I say, India, Pakistan works equally as good. Obviously, these guys never buy from you as such, but in terms of getting that engagement to organically push you up will then get you a much wider audience, and hopefully the sales and everything will come from there. Anyway, guys, we actually had some twat who disliked the video before it even started. Please give us a little love on Facebook or whatever platform you're working on, because we hate people like just doing that shit. It's just bad. And see if we ever find out who you are, man. God help you. I wish YouTube would show who's doing that, because there's bad things that can happen. Anyway, Fernando Coutinho, is the GSA working for levels 1, 2, and 3? What levels do you use GSA for, Chris?
Farther out, 2, 3, 4. Yeah,
How
farther out.
Do you go down? How many tiers do you go down?
4.
Just 4. Anything else just a waste of time in your opinion?
I mean, I've tried it out, in the past, but I don't think that it's necessary. And I just think that the more stops there are, it seems like it just doesn't pass that power. Like sending a link to a first tier, it's nice. Second tier to first, hey, that's great. But then as you start going out, it's diminishing returns, in my opinion.
Yeah, interesting. Craig Mullins, good morning, Mr. Mullins, from San Francisco.
Why do you go out farther? Have you found that?
No, I don't go that much further. I'm just curious to know if you did.
I've tried it. It's just not effective.
Yeah, I wasn't seeing any real benefits of it. A couple of tiers down and that's it. I'm too lazy as well. I can't be fucked. Amo George, is reciprocal link building helpful?
Absolutely. All links are helpful, but I wouldn't base your whole basis of link building on one type of link. I think we've mentioned that before. A link from, hey, we're friends or whatnot, maybe, hey, could I get a link? The link, it's all relevant. That's fine. You do that 20 times, hey, that's okay. You do it 1,000 times, now you might be running into trouble. But I think it's perfectly fine. To a degree, small degree.
To a small degree. Have you ever, and I'm going to ask you outright, Chris, have you ever agreed to do a reciprocal link to a guy, but made it's not actually been reciprocated? You've just kind of pulled the wool over his eyes and led him to believe that was going to pass some value back? You ever done anything like that?
I mean, I didn't do anything like that, but maybe when I first started many moons ago, I maybe was working on other sites and I've sold links on those sites to people that maybe, things like that in the past,
Cool. Chris, regarding your technique to get backlinks from redirect notice pages by manipulating the URL parameter in the URL, how do you find sites that have such redirect notice pages?
I'm not quite grasping that question. A redirect technique to get backlinks from a redirect notice. I'm not sure what you mean by this. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by this. URL parameter, that's a question mark. That's a parameter. I'm not sure what you're meaning by this. Are you talking about the edu links and the .gov links, the redirection, the parameters that are within the URL redirect parameters inside the... I just did a video on it, .gov.edu. Is that what you're talking about, Giro? How do I find those sites? I find them with Scrapebox.
Cool.
If that's what you're asking me.
If that's not what you're asking, Giro, let us know and we'll come back to that one and answer it.
That sounds about right. Sounds technical enough, something that I would have been yammering on. I'm trying to explain to people, but it's very difficult.
Sam is asking, would you recommend those foundation link services on places like Legit for affiliate websites for link or anchor diversity so that you can use a tiny bit more keyword anchors and stronger links?
It depends on the service. It depends on the provider. That again goes back to the trust element of where are you getting these links from? Who's building them? Where are they coming from? So that's it. It all goes back to trust. And I would always, if you're trying out a new service, test it out. You should have test properties. I mean, it's cheap to set up a test site. Set it up, see what it does. Is it working? Is it effective? Am I getting a penalty? Is it hurting my site? Is it passing juice? Set up an AWS. Set up it's easy.
I think one man's foundation links is not another man's foundation links. People getting foundation links, that's a very off the cuff statement. I get foundation links, but obviously there's got to be a certain standard there. And when you go to steep down to lows, going to things like Legit or Fiverr or something like that, the quality is somewhat different, and these are links that you wouldn't even give to your competitor that you're trying to negative SEO, because they're not even going to make a difference. That's the case. So be careful, do research, and as Chris says, test some of this shit out, because it's cheap enough for you to test and make a decision yourself rather than us saying, "No, that's bullshit." And that's it. Paul's asking, I have a site that doesn't have many links. Where should I start? What would you do to someone who's just like Paul?
I get that a lot. If you're just starting out, completely forget about link building. Like, I mean, you should start off your initial link building campaigns, send some links to your social properties, start building your social properties out, start adding content, build out your GMB. Every property should have a GMB. It validates the entity. I forget who said it, but I heard it and I was like, that's perfect. After that, you should be building out links to maybe Web 2s. Build out your Web 2s. Start securing your brand. Branded Web 2s, service-based Web 2s to secure your brand name. So social entities, Web 2s, and then what's first should be your technical. Make sure that your site is lightning fast and secure. Make sure the server's hardened. Then you should be moving on to your content. Build your 10 or 20 pieces of pillar content, and then start building out your supporting articles, and then start building links to the supporting articles. That's where I would start.
Yeah.
I was trying to get out a lot fast there. I was trying that's a good question. Where should you start?
Yeah, where do you start? I mean, also just to add on top of what Chris is saying, you're in the digital marketing for business. Getting these easy to get. Well, they're not that easy to get, but you can go on people's podcasts, you can go on people's webinars, like SEMrush or whatever, and you get a link from that. You get links from people's podcasts. These are all easy to get, high-powered links. So if I want to go on, do you have a podcast, Chris?
No, I don't. I thought about it, but it seemed like everybody. I hate to be different like everybody else. You know what I mean? I was like, everybody thought YouTube was hard, so I was like, I'm going to do YouTube. Podcasting, just not for me.
So there's loads of high-profile guys out there with high-power websites, that are doing podcasts. Jump on there. People are always happy to have new guests with fresh ideas. So again, these are easy, quick wins. If you are starting to get links as well, on top of what Chris has said, there's a lot of stuff you can get from the industry in general, especially digital marketing, where you can appear on stuff or, guest post or whatever, call it what you will. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there, and you've just got to grab as much of the good stuff as you can. And podcasts is one way of doing that, or speaking at events or whatever it's going to be. It's certainly one way I get a lot of links from that. Ronak Jane, are you both given a course for blogging A to Z? I'm not.
I think because of the questions that are coming.
Right. So blogging A to Z, there are loads of guides out there. Take them with a pinch of salt. They're all horse shit. So just do again.
I hate those. Oh, I hate the blogging because they'll catch a win on one page and then now they know everything about blogging. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What I'm talking about. Oh my God. Well, you hit a lick one time and now you're the, oh my goodness.
Saravan and indexing service work. Do you know any that do work?
You know, I just recently was testing it. I heard it on your podcast. You were talking to that gentleman on the negative SEO. I've been testing. I just started testing Omega. I think.
Yeah.
I started testing that. I'd say that's probably about a 60% or so far is what I'm seeing. So right now I might say them. I mean, I've tested other ones too and playing with it. They change so frequently, but right now I just did Omega. About 60% is indexing. So try them out.
OmegaIndexer.com, that is, Saran. So try it out for that one. No perfect indexing tool out there, but this one doing some damage just now. Devin Price, the leading competitor in my niche as fuck. That's a lot of links. And nearly 500,000 referring domains. I'm in the adult niche. Can you offer any advice that might help me compete? Or do I just eat the horse?
Eat the horse. Eat the horse. Man, I would really take a look. I mean, where are those coming from? I don't know. I don't see if you're in that particular industry. Why aren't you snapping up expireds?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that would be the only way to start really competing, in my opinion. Again, I'm not in that niche though, so don't listen to me. That's maybe what I would start with.
Listen, in the adult niche, and I've worked in the adult niche in the past, you have to have deep pockets. You have to look at expireds, PBNs, paying for everything you can fucking get, and you've got to have a decent budget to be able to get them. You can also top that up by blasting the shit out of stuff tier 2, but expired domain names is the only real way you're going to catch someone at, with that level of volume, because I'd be looking for domains that may cost $500 that I've got 5,000 referring domain names. Grabbing those opportunities, or if not more referring domain names, is the way you're going to have to quickly catch up. So that would be my strategy alongside, tier 2 blasts and everything else. But it's not about you getting 447,000 referring domain names. You could probably crush that with 150,000 better quality, powerful stuff. So do not think that figure's something you have to smash. Just do a better job, because I can guarantee if you sent me the link to that website and I analysed it, I would probably say 400,000 of them are donkey shit. So, yeah, that's the that it's just an obscene amount of stuff there, and I'm actually surprised.
Somebody like that's crazy.
Derek Downs, what black hat tools do you guys use? Give us some of your tools there, Chris.
I mean, currently using or have used. I mean, GSA, Scrapebox, SC Nuke, Supreme Traffic Bot, Panda Bot. I've used some Quora. What I really look for is there's a site. You want to know where I get a lot of really cool tools and they'll work and then they'll stop working? There's a site called bots.net. And on there, it's guys that, black hat guys that just come off with scripts and they'll work for a period of time. And then they don't support them. It's like a JV Zoo kind of deal. But they give them away. They're cheap. They're $10, $20. And they do one specific thing that's very helpful. And then they'll stop working. So maybe getting custom scripts and finding scripts or customized programs is a lot better than a mass market black hat tool, which we all know and have all used, So.
Yeah.
That's more the angle I've been going now, is because it's cheap to have people, because everybody and their brother's a programmer now. So it's pretty easy to get stuff, so but there's a lot of tools, man.
There's a lot of tools. I mean, I think Scrapebox, GSA, I'm using SEO Autopilot, which I don't hide. I've got spinners, I've got all sorts of weird shit there, but there is nothing else out there other than the kind of custom stuff. And I think that's what more and more people are looking for, is custom made tools that do this, that, or the next thing. But there's tools out there for social signals. There's tools out there for click-through rate. There's tools out there for, analyzing on-page content. There's just that many different tools. Not all of them are black hat, but there's just a tool for everything. And yeah, I like trying and testing them all. That's my main thing, is trying all these tools. It's quite a lot of fun. But hopefully you've got some there, Derek. Stone Dape, blogging on subdomain, is it the same if pillar pages on the subdomain, or should it be in the domain? Is there a difference?
I don't think there really is a difference. I mean, when we're looking at a power page, I'm really talking about maybe of like a silo structure, if that's how you want to look at it, page structure. So a pillar page would be your leading page or the ranking page, and supporting, right, would be the non-pillar page. So it would be, your website.com/pillar page /supporting article. You see, that would be the structure.
Perfect.
That makes sense. It's hard to, verbally explain something.
Yeah. Guys, we have 20 minutes left. It's actually flying.
That was
18
bad,
minutes left. Keep your questions coming, but I'm only at 5:20 on the live chat in terms of questions. So any further questions, please don't put them in the live chat. Can you please put them in the comments below the video on YouTube, and we will come back and answer them after the video is done, because I'm probably not going to get through every question that's still on the live chat, but we will keep going. Please also do give us a like and a subscribe to the video to get one up on that arsehole who didn't like the page, didn't like it before. But on to Charles Lester. What type of link building would you advise for e-com sites that have many pages that they want to rank for?
Man, e-com's a tricky situation. I mean, I personally would be trying to look at who is ranking above for whatever type of item that I have, or the industry that I'm in. And I would be trying to maybe do some outreach for those types of campaigns. Maybe just to start, I would go for PBN, something that's relatively high power. But then I would be trying to strip those away little by little and doing outreach more and more. That's the route that I would go, because you're probably going to want to off that site eventually, or who knows?
Yeah. I think e-com's a hard one because there's so much scope to get so much rankings there. And unless you've got a bottomless pit of money to do all crazy, good stuff right from the get-go, then you're going to have to do what Chris says and maybe utilize some strategies that you can maybe strip away further down the line. Future-proofing the business, and obviously when it comes to reselling it, you don't want an e-com business that's propped up with PBNs, because most business owners will come to someone like me or Chris or whatever and say, "Hey guys, man, what do you think? I'm going to shell out a couple of $1 million for this." And you see it all propped up with PBNs, and you're like, "Oh, don't do that." So, that's what we would advise. Austin Parkman, for a B2B SaaS job website, what would you recommend doing to stand a chance against some of the larger, most recognized brands? Should the SEO take a back seat to running ads?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, I think you should be. It's really, it's money to reward. I mean, you have to figure out that ratio. If you have the budget, ads are great for right now, but for long term, SEO is the way to go. Always, always, always. And it's going to be cheaper in the long run. So I would consistently be running your ads to get money in the front door, but you need to be building out content and building out, how-tos or some type of information for your product so you can start getting traffic. So I would do both. I don't think that it should take a back seat.
No, especially if you're working against, in big business like that, you're going to have something like 10, 10 grand might just be a joke figure actually, but say the figure is 10,000, you might want to start spending 4 of that in ads just to get some stuff going, spend 2 grand in content 1 month and spend, the rest on links. But that may change month to month. But the long-term goal would be to strip as much of that paid ad budget and put some more of it into what's going to stand the test of time. Or if you can show that 10 grand works with, a 40% mix of paid ads, and you do some other stuff, then you've got and you're making your company 100 grand for that 10 grand spend. Then you've got the right to then go to your people and say, I want 20 grand because I want to get to 200 grand and so on. I think it comes down to budget. And if your budget only allows paid ads and it's not going to give you a successful ads campaign, SEO campaign, of course you're going to have to shelve SEO and just run ads and probably go out of business at some point because you're not able to compete with the top boys because they're getting a lot of organic, they're getting a lot of social, they're getting a lot of everything else. So it really is budget dependent, and the foresight of your board or directors or whatever to have a sustainable all-in-one marketing campaign. Now, I don't put all of my time and effort into SEO. That would be crazy to do that. I put some time into YouTube, which I'm doing right now. I build an email marketing list. I do some paid stuff and all of that kind of stuff to market myself. And it's no different for someone like that. But SEO is the kind of main driver of traffic. So hopefully that helps. Bradley Hip Hop, how many silo pages would you create to rank 10 core pages? Do you build tier 1 PBN links to silo pages?
It's not an amount of how many to rank. It's really how many different queries, which means how many different keyword sets are based around a main keyword. You have your main keyword, which is getting the most traffic, and then you need supporting articles because that could be different queries, different search intent. So that's why you're building out your silo. As far as links, I personally like to build links to the bottom of the silo, right? So inner pages. Silo is just page structure. So that's probably the best answer there. It's not a matter of how many pages or this or that. It's what's the main keyword? How many sub keywords are there? Because I need to build content for that. And as far as links, some to the homepage, some to supporting articles.
Yeah.
The answer.
Good answer. Can't really add more than that to it, to be fair. Sam, those mass marketed link building services are often overpriced for what they are. You're right, buddy. Nabil, how many backlinks can we create in a day? How many backlinks can you create in a day, Chris?
I mean, I could create millions in a day, but what can you successfully build over the course of time? So I gave this on the channel. You look at the top leading competitor. How many RDs do they have? So then you need to factor over the course of a year, how long will it take me to build those? And can I build that many per week up to the year? Then you know how many you should be building on a weekly basis to compete. If you can't afford it, then you need to switch your niche. That's how I do it.
Cool. I mean, listen, don't have a figure when you're building backlinks in a day. Just build quality over quantity. If it takes you 2 hours to get a big, decent link, it takes 2 hours. Just plod away. It's not a case of how many you can build in a day. It's quality. But anyway, Richard Bishop, what data correlation have you seen between May's Google core algorithm update and links such as link velocity, profile, and anchor?
I hate these questions. The correlate. I'm going to be honest with you. Out of the 9 clients that I have, I was only looking at who's winning. We'll say 3 of them fell out of rank. I was only looking at who's beating me and why. And now we're starting to analyze because the time has passed. Now we want to see what exactly can we do? And we're starting to regain our traffic back. Yeah. I don't look at that or it's this or that. I just look at my particular SERPs. So I can't touch on that broad of the core update,
I mean, in terms of data correlation, there's not enough data out there yet to be able to come up with exact answers, but we see guys like Christoph Semper from LRT, Link Research Tools, who has large sets of data, who believes it's down to link velocity and stuff like that, but he's not really released much more to my knowledge. But it's definitely link related, and when you look at these core updates, there's something you're doing wrong. If you're building good quality links and mixing up your anchors and mixing up the pages you're linking to and all that kind of stuff, you're not really going to have seen much of an update. It's people are being penalised for sloppy, crappy work. That's what Google are penalising, or discounting the crappy links that are on there. So just keep building more and look more at future-proofing your link building, more quality, more power, and you'll not go far wrong.
And you are hitting the nail on the head there, because it was the 3 that I'm having the problem with, is generally where I start with the Web 2s and trying to secure brand. We mass built those. We were in a rush on those campaigns. And it does seem, I have to agree with you, that was, I'm thinking that's what it was. But
yeah. But yeah, I could be proven wrong with that. It's just what I'm grabbing from what other people are saying. Yeah, hopefully that helps you.
Branded exact. That's was the. Yeah, I think you're right there.
Mohammed, what's the best possible way to get a link from HARO?
I loathe that. I did HARO for so long. It's just so much work. You have to, you get a bazillion emails, then you're siphoning through them, or you have it set on Google or whatever you're using to pick out keywords. Then you're sending them the pitch, then you're giving them content, then they're writing you back. It's just a lot of work. It really is. What I would do is get somebody to do all that stuff for you. HARO's a lot of work, man, I think. Yeah,
well, definitely. Listen, pitching with no guarantee of approval,
that's the
I'd rather go and buy an expired domain name with that time or that money. Just being honest. Priyanka, does Google put more weight on links that come from a small set of seed sites?
That's really, it's hard to say. I'm not looking, I don't know their algorithm, It depends on the seed sites. That's a relatively hard question. I don't know what they're putting the most weight on, but I do feel as though that the links that are most highly relevant with the best metrics seem to be the best as far as starting off a campaign. So that's the best answer.
Here's one, Camise. How many links should you build to a brand new website?
Well,
very generic question there, buddy. But I'll let you answer it, Chris.
If you're in your first couple weeks, maybe I would build one PBN to the homepage. It depends on the niche. I'd be building out my social entities. Those are all pointing in. I'd build out and secure, but slowly, my brand and services, whether it's on Web 2 of the best, like WordPress is fine. But other than that, that would probably be it at first, It depends on the niche. Just, as time is progressing, it seems more and more SERP to SERP is just vastly different.
Yeah, just look at what the competition are doing and gradually try and emulate that.
Sure.
Again, can't do it. Kim Robinson, good to see you. Hey guys, what would you say about a link from Harvard University, for example? I've got one, man. I got one.
So do I. Well, I think there's numerous, as what I'm finding is there's multiple different Harvards. So you'll see in Search Console, it'll show up Harvard. I think I have 4 of them. So I think they could be beneficial if you're sending links to them. But a few of them are no follow. Not saying that no follow are bad. But yeah, that's about it. It just depends on which one you're getting.
It used to be really exclusive to get a link from that, and it no longer is. Yeah. That's the problem we've got, and now anyone can get them. Just go to People Per Hour and you can buy one. Gareth Dane, I'm thinking of starting a bra e-commerce site, but I'm unsure on how best to present the products in a way that would make them enticing. Do I know any decent bra models? So,
not yet.
I don't know if you've seen my TikTok last night. but I had a brown in it. So I was cleaning the mirror and I had different t-shirts on, and one of them had a brown. So he's trying to troll me, everyone,
Joker.
just in case you're like, what the fuck? But there you go. Devin Price, can a G-stack to a fairly new Web 2.0 outrank a site backlink with a high example DA90?
Can a G-stack beat a link from a real website that's a DA90?
Yeah. I would say no.
It's hard to say. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's not something I've actually specifically tested as such. However, you know, I think Google are looking at more than well, do they even look at DA? You know, that's the question. Now, your argument to that, Devin, would be, do Google look more favorably on a G stack than they would something else? And the answer is probably yes. But then there's other metrics that come in to play as well. So there's so many factors that I just couldn't see that being the case.
How'd you build it? You know, how relevant is it? How big's the stack?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Yeah.
Just one.
Sam's saying, doesn't dislikes actually help the algorithm as well? I think people used to say that a couple of years ago. Not sure. Listen, people are entitled to their opinion. If the video's shit, do give it a dislike, you know, if you don't like what we're saying. And I'm sure it's perfectly natural to have a dislike in there now and again. It's just, it doesn't even bother me. It's just when you see that you're not even live yet, you're just like, fuck, you know, someone's disliked it already, but they've taken the time to come here before we've been on here and dislike it. What a cunt. So that's my problem with it. But yeah, perfectly natural. And as I say, not everyone's going to agree with what we say as well. Going back to Giro, that was what he was talking about earlier with your previous video on the EDU links or whatever it was.
Yep.
Christine, we're both good. Thank you for joining us. That was at 5:30. So the last 3 minutes, guys, I'm going to blast through as many of these as I can. Right. If you do have any other questions, put them in the comments below the video, not in the live chat if you can. Be something. Is it safe to hire someone from Fiverr for link building?
It is safe, but you have to give them very specific instructions. Very, very specific instructions.
Ronak Jane, why you both was laughing on my question, can you have a consultant number for blogging related? We both laughed because you were asking about an A to Z guide on the blogging course, which everyone seems to have. It's just a bit of a joke. In the industry, you know, everyone's releasing a blogging course. We're not laughing at you personally, but people want a blogging guide, and you know, what is a blogging guide? Blogging can mean so many things in itself. So yeah, that's why, and there's tons of them out there. Nikki Reed, on a vehicles for sale directory, would you build links to the category 4x4s and redirect the listing when sold to the category?
I mean, only if that category is consistently still getting traffic, then redirect it. If not, then I would just clear that off.
Yeah. I've just lost my questions. Right, they're back. Right, so Sam, on that foundation link service question from earlier, it is not from my main site anyway. The service only has a 5-star review, and my competitor has the same. You'll give it a go. That's fine.
Oh wow.
Josh McAdams, yes, we could. I should have a show in Hollywood, man. No, I'm only kidding. Hassan, do you think link building nowadays is as effective as it was before?
I think it's starting to lose, but I think it's still very effective. Yes, I think it's very important.
Jano, do you have a link ratio to PBNs?
I just make sure to consistently build content and still send in links, but it's still slower than a new website that I'm trying to get rankings out of. But I look at a PBN different than, say, Craig would. So,
the Asia secret, how many tier 2 PBNs do you usually build on your tier 1 guest post? Is there a specific figure?
Well, if I'm buying, no, generally, if I'm buying a guest post from somewhere and it's a high authority guest post, I send the cheapest niche edits that I can get usually, you know,
Is there
as
a
long as they're powerful.
like how many do you buy though? 1, 10,
And
100?
yeah, 10 packs, and then I just sit and wait. Yeah.
Cool. Richard Morrison, how can I effectively increase the DR of my money site so that I can outrank my competitors that are higher on a budget after the last update?
Time and links, time and links. Links, wait time.
How do you mass build social web 2.0 profile links?
Well, I use a program. I'm going to release a video, so I won't share that now, but I use a particular program that does it, and that's it. But there's a lot of tools that do it, but I like one specifically.
It's a bloody teaser. When are you releasing the video? When can we expect to see this?
As soon as the guy gives me the okay to talk about it.
Right, cool. Fair enough. Right, so Mitch Sharp, right, we'll not go into that. He was just giving some feedback. Andy Bell, when buying a link in an article, is it okay to slip in one or more different links to sites, or will this still harm the juice that you're getting?
Yes, and that's a good trick. If the provider will allow it, even to the same website, but it has to be to different pages, and you'll still receive power. You just can't send 2 links to the same page. But if it's one to the homepage, one to, say, I don't know, about us page, they'll both get power from the same exact source. So that's a good tip right there.
Perfect. Kim Robinson is laughing. Mohammed, how much cost would be worthy to get a high quality link from a DA80 and relevant website?
I mean, I've paid $100, $200. I've paid more for links. It just
depends. What it's
depends.
up to you is the price, or what's the cheapest price you can get it off the guy who might be desperate for $50.
It's true. Yeah.
Negotiate, man. Always negotiate this shit down. Alexander Bergstrom, what is a decent or acceptable CR for outreach emails in your opinion?
CR, what is that?
Conversion rate, I think.
2%.
2%.
Be happy with 2%.
Yeah. So listen, I know guys
do yes
for a living, and the conversion rates are always round about 2. If you get 3 or 4, you're doing really well. Because you're mass emailing blindly to people, so that's part of the problem. But sadly, we are out of time. But just before we go, if you are going to ask questions, unfortunately, we don't know what things like that mean. So I've had to skip by those. We only do English questions. We are ignorant here and can't do that. Is there a black hat course out there that can teach us step by step besides from Craig? The problem you've got with that, Johan, is no one wants to give away what's working. That is the problem. The only place that you're going to learn is go out, networking, talk to people, private Zoom calls, private consultancy. That's when people are going to give it away. Very, very often, if I've given away a talk, and Chris is probably the same, people come and slam you for stuff that you've said, or try and get you into trouble for stuff you've said. So you need to be very careful what you're saying. You probably get that as well, Chris, right? People saying, you dodgy bee and all that.
I get that a lot, but then too, I'll slip up and say something. I'll be like, "Oh, hey, can you teach me how to do that?" So.
And Dave Snyder, I'm not Black Hat SEO. I'm just with Chris. I'm just talking about Black Hat SEO, just learning. And finally, Jonas, Knicks fan, thought Zion was coming. I am a Knicks fan. And Johan Dobulos, can you mentor me? I get asked that daily. I don't have enough hours in the day to mentor people. I do have one-on-one training and stuff like that. What about you, Chris? Do you mentor people?
Just people. No, not yet. Not yet. It's just the amount of time, really.
Something you can always negotiate, but in terms of paying someone to mentor you, is normally always going to be something you would have to pay for as such. And yeah, there's lots of people out there who are good that do that stuff.
True.
So there you go. And Simon White, hello. Good to see you, buddy. But we are out of time. We are a minute and 5 minutes in, an hour and 5 minutes in. But it has been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Today, Andy Bell's asking, where's your jug of water today?
I got it here.
But we will be back, hopefully. You up for another one next week, Chris?
Oh, definitely. Surely.
What topic do you want to go for?
Whatever they've said in the comments is fine. I like logo, I like links, I like everything.
Leave a comment below the video, not in the live chat because we are now finished. Leave a comment below what you want to see the topic as, and we'll be back at the same time next week where we will do more questions and answers. Thank you very much. As I say, hopefully we get through most of these questions. Thank you, Chris, for joining, and thank you, everyone. So appreciate your time, everyone, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you, Craig.
Cheers.
Have a good day.